The stars of the neutral system burned quietly, untouched by war for centuries. Small colonies lived on scattered moons, farming, mining, and trading in peace. But peace rarely lasted long in a galaxy ruled by greed and ambition. On the edge of the system, space tore open. Massive rifts of blue light appeared as hundreds of alien ships arrived from hyperspace. They came in rows, organized like an iron wall stretching across the sky. Ships of every shape and size filled the void, spikes, crescents, and armored beasts of steel. Together they formed the Coalition Fleet, a war alliance of many alien races. Their purpose was clear: conquer Earth, break its people, and take its resources. For years the Coalition believed humans were weak. They were late to space travel, late to join the interstellar stage, and slow to build colonies. Compared to the grand empires of the galaxy, Earth seemed like a child among giants. The Coalition thought this invasion would be quick, easy, and final. In the system's mining colony, alarms screamed as the sky turned red. Families rushed into bunkers, children cried, and miners looked up at the massive shapes of warships blotting out the stars. Traders closed their comms, knowing there would be no escape. Everyone whispered the same thing: Earth had only one planet, one home. If the fleet took it, humanity would be broken forever. At the heart of the alien armada stood the flagship Iron Fang, a dreadnought larger than a city. Its commander, Admiral Krass, stood on the bridge, his scaled hands gripping the railing. His voice hissed with confidence as he addressed his officers. Earth will fall today. No more patience, no more waiting. We burn their colonies, we break their fleets, we take their world. Around him, alien captains cheered. Some spoke in guttural clicks, others in deep growls, but all carried the same hunger. They were certain of victory. Yet, across the system, another signal appeared. A single ship was leaving warp. The readings puzzled the alien sensors. It was small, only the length of a cruiser, and shaped with plain lines. Compared to the Armada, it looked like a toy drifting into a storm. The ship's name was Resolute. It was not part of a fleet. It was not escorted. It was alone. On its bridge, Commander Ross stood at the center, a tall figure with calm eyes. His uniform was plain, his tone steady. He looked nothing like the roaring alien warlords. His crew sat at their stations: pilots, engineers, gunners, each focused, each silent. They all knew the same truth. The galaxy thought Earth was weak, but Earth had been preparing. Ross gave his first order with no fear in his voice. Hold position. Let them see us. The crew followed without question. The Resolute drifted forward into the middle of the system, its dark hull shining faintly under the light of the twin suns. To the aliens, it was a laughable sight. One ship against thousands. The Coalition officers sneered across their comms. Admiral Krass leaned closer to the screen, his jaw opening in cruel amusement. This is what Earth sends? A single vessel? They insult us. He raised a clawed hand and gave the order that would start the war. Crush it. The first wave of alien fire lit up the void. Plasma bursts streaked across space, missile swarms filled the black sky, and beams of energy cut through the darkness. The barrage was enough to erase a fleet. Colonies shook under the thunder of the distant blasts. To every frightened witness, it seemed certain that the lone human ship would be reduced to dust. But on the bridge of the Resolute, the crew did not panic. The ship's shields flared with a silver glow, absorbing the torrent as though it were nothing more than rain against stone. Commander Ross stood unmoved, his hands resting behind his back. He spoke again, calm as ever. They wanted Earth's answer. Let us give it. The Resolute prepared to strike. The Resolute floated calmly in the middle of the battlefield. Around it stretched the endless wall of alien warships, their weapons glowing with cruel light. The void itself seemed ready to break under the power of so many cannons. Yet the small Earth ship did not falter. Its hull remained dark and silent, a shadow against the storm. On the bridge, the crew sat at their stations with steady eyes. Every officer knew what they carried. The Resolute was not built for show. It was not made to intimidate with size. It was designed with a single purpose: survival through absolute power. Commander Ross stood at the center, hands clasped behind his back. His calm presence filled the room. He was not a man who shouted. He gave no speeches. His voice was enough to hold the crew steady. "They see us as fragile," Ross said. "Let them believe it for a moment longer." The ship's main screen showed the alien fleet shifting. The first barrage of plasma and missiles had done nothing. The aliens had expected debris. Instead, they saw their attacks vanish into the shimmering silver shield of the Resolute. Confusion now rippled through their ranks. On the flagship Iron Fang, Admiral Krass snarled, his scaled jaw tightening. His officers exchanged worried glances. "No shield can withstand that much fire," one of them whispered. "It must be a trick," said another. Krass slammed his clawed hand against the console. "Then we break the trick. Fire again." Another storm lit up space. Hundreds of cannons roared, filling the void with destruction. This time, the Resolute was fully hidden inside the blaze. Colonists watching from moons turned away, sure the ship could not survive. But when the storm cleared, the Resolute was still there, untouched. Its shields rippled once, then settled back into calm silver light. Not a single mark scarred its hull. On the human bridge, silence held for a long moment. Then Ross spoke with a voice firm and cold. "Target the nearest warship." Lieutenant Mara, the ship's weapons officer, tapped her console. Her hands were steady though her heart pounded. "Target locked, Commander." Ross gave one short nod. "Fire." The Resolute's core cannon came alive. It was no ordinary weapon. It did not spit plasma or send out missiles. Instead, a beam of compressed energy bent the space around it, folding light as it cut across the void. It struck the alien battleship directly through its center. For 1 second, the alien vessel remained whole. Then, without an explosion, it was gone, erased as if it had never existed. A silence heavier than any sound spread across the alien fleet. One ship had been there. Now it was nothing. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Krass froze. His officers stared in shock, their voices trembling. What weapon was that? It bypassed armor. It bypassed shields. It is impossible. But it was not impossible. It was human. The Resolute turned slightly, its dark hull glowing faintly under its own strange power. On the bridge, Ross spoke again, calm and without emotion. "Target the next." Another beam cut across the void. Another alien ship vanished. No wreckage, no survivors. The galaxy had seen many wars, but never had it seen such a weapon. The aliens had expected humans to fight like prey, to scatter and beg for mercy. Instead, they faced silence, precision, and an answer too sharp to deflect. The fleet rippled with fear. Some captains shouted for retreat. Others demanded they charge. The alliance began to fracture under panic. None of them had expected this. Ross kept his voice steady. "We will not chase them. We will not waste fire. Strike only when needed." The Resolute glided forward slowly, not rushing, not showing weakness. Each time an alien ship moved to attack, a single human shot followed. Each time, a ship vanished. One by one, the coalition forces realized that numbers meant nothing. Their thousands of cannons could not break the shield. Their endless ranks could not touch the lone Earth vessel. On the colonies below, people lifted their heads. They had thought Earth was doomed, but now they saw hope. They saw one ship standing against an empire and not breaking. On the alien flagship, Admiral Krass felt his claws tremble. He had invaded many worlds. He had burned cities, shattered fleets, enslaved races. Never had he seen one vessel turn a war. His officers looked at him, waiting for orders, but for the first time he did not know what to say. And across the system, every frightened eye realized the same truth. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had been waiting. The Resolute had shown its first strike, and the galaxy would never forget it. The alien fleet was silent. 1,000 ships floated in formation, but none dared move. The wreck of their fallen vessels was not even drifting in space. There was nothing left. The Resolute's weapon had not destroyed them in fire and debris. It had erased them from existence. On the human bridge, the crew remained calm. The glow of the silver shields hummed softly around the ship. Every officer kept their hands ready, eyes fixed on their consoles. They knew the aliens were panicking. They also knew panic could be dangerous. Commander Ross spoke in his steady tone. "Stay disciplined. They will attack again." Lieutenant Mara gave a short nod, her fingers hovering above the weapons controls. "Targets are all around us, Commander." Ross did not look at the screen. He stared ahead, his face calm and unreadable. "We strike only when needed." On the Iron Fang, Admiral Krass's voice broke the silence. His scaled face twisted with anger as he slammed his claws against the console. "They are one ship. One ship. And yet you sit frozen? Move the fleet. Surround them." His captains obeyed, though fear trembled in their voices. The vast armada shifted. Cruisers slid into flanking positions, destroyers closed in, and swarms of small fighters poured forward like angry insects. The void filled with motion again as the coalition sought to crush the lone human ship under sheer numbers. From the colony below, miners and settlers watched the battle on flickering screens. Families huddled together, whispering prayers. They had expected their last day. Now they watched the Resolute stand unbroken against an empire. The hope in their eyes grew with every passing second. The first wave of alien fighters came fast, their engines leaving trails of light. Hundreds of small craft darted toward the Resolute, weaving and circling like predators around prey. Their weapons fired in endless streams, plasma bursts splashing against the human shield. Inside the Resolute, the ship barely trembled. The silver barrier absorbed everything. On the screen, the fighters danced closer, their guns flashing. "Fighters are at close range," Mara reported. Ross nodded once. "Engage point defense." Panels opened along the hull of the human ship. Small turrets rotated smoothly, glowing with blue light. With mechanical precision, they fired in rapid bursts. Beams of concentrated energy shot outward, faster than the alien fighters could dodge. In seconds, the swarm was gone. Hundreds of fighters reduced to empty space, their destruction clean and absolute. The alien fleet faltered again. Murmurs rose on every command deck. How could one ship resist so much firepower? How could it erase enemies so easily? The coalition had fought countless wars, but never against such technology. Admiral Krass roared across the comms, his voice echoing in every allied ship. "Do not fear them. Overwhelm them. Fire everything you have." The order spread like fire. The fleet opened up with every weapon. Plasma cannons thundered, railguns spat molten metal, missiles streaked across the void in glowing arcs. The stars themselves seemed to vanish under the light of the barrage. On the Resolute, the bridge shook slightly. The shield glowed brighter, holding against the endless storm. Some crew members gripped their chairs, but their eyes never left their stations. They trusted the ship. They trusted Commander Ross. When the storm faded, the Resolute stood unharmed. Its silver shield dimmed again, calm and steady. Not one mark scarred its hull. Ross gave his order. His voice was quiet, but in the silence of the bridge it sounded like thunder. "Return fire." Mara tapped her console. The core cannon glowed with power. A beam erupted, cutting across the battlefield. One alien cruiser disappeared. Another shot followed, erasing a destroyer. A third shot struck a warship that had tried to flank, wiping it away without trace. The alien fleet wavered. Ships broke formation. Panic spread across the ranks. The coalition, once so confident, now faced the truth they were prey before a hunter. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Krask gritted his teeth. His claws dug into the railing as he fought to control his rage. "They cannot be invincible," he growled. "No one is invincible. Bring the dreadnoughts forward." At his command, the largest ships of the fleet moved. Towering vessels, bristling with weapons, heavier than mountains. Their cannons lit the void with blinding power. The battle was far from over, but fear had already taken root. And through it all, the Resolute drifted forward, calm and unshaken, like a shadow carrying Earth's answer to the galaxy. The battlefield had become a graveyard of silence. Where once the coalition fleet had stretched like a wall of iron, gaps now yawned open. Ships that had been proud and mighty were gone, erased with no trace left behind. The Resolute had not moved fast. It had not rushed. Every strike had been calm, precise, and unstoppable. Among the alien ships, panic grew like a sickness. Captains shouted over one another, their voices heavy with fear. Some demanded they keep fighting, others begged for retreat. The alliance that had been so proud just hours before now wavered, breaking apart under the weight of terror. On one command deck, a captain with tusked jaws turned to his officers, his voice shaking. "This is no human ship. It is a weapon. We were never told they had such power." Another officer whispered back, "Maybe it is not human at all. Maybe Earth found something. Something older, something forbidden." Rumors spread fast across the fleet. Some claimed the Resolute carried stolen technology from dead civilizations. Others whispered that it was a ship controlled by an artificial mind. No one could agree, but all agreed on one thing: the ship was not natural. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Krask listened to the voices of fear from his captains. His scaled hands clenched the railing as he forced his officers into silence. His eyes burned with anger, but even his heart trembled. He had commanded fleets that crushed entire worlds. He had never seen anything like this. "They are only humans," Krask growled. "They are children compared to us. Do not forget that." But his words carried less weight than before. Every officer had seen the truth with their own eyes. Children did not erase warships with a single shot. Children did not stand against thousands without taking damage. Meanwhile, the Resolute drifted through the battlefield like a shadow. It did not hurry, did not chase. It moved forward as if time itself belonged to it. On its bridge, Commander Ross remained calm, his face steady. "Status?" Ross asked quietly. Lieutenant Mara checked her console. "Shields are at full strength. No damage taken. Weapons are ready." "Good," Ross replied. His tone was simple, but his words carried power. To his crew, they were not just numbers. They were proof that Earth could stand against the galaxy. The human crew kept their discipline. They did not cheer, did not laugh, and did not taunt the enemy. Every officer worked in silence, focused only on the next move. They understood the truth: this battle was not just about survival. It was about sending a message. Below, the colonies on the moon still watched in awe. Families gathered around screens, their eyes wide as they saw alien warships vanish one by one. Where fear had once ruled, now hope bloomed. For the first time, they believed Earth might not only survive but rise. Back in the alien fleet, fear became anger. One captain, his pride wounded, shouted across the comms. "We outnumber them by thousands. They are one ship. If we do not crush them now, we are nothing." His words pushed others to act. Small groups of ships broke away, charging forward in desperate attacks. They hoped that if enough of them struck at once, the human ship would finally break. On the Resolute, the crew watched the incoming vessels. Ross raised one hand, giving his order in a voice steady as stone. "Target the leaders." Mara fired. The core cannon blazed once, and the lead ship vanished. Another beam erased the second. A third followed, cutting away the next attacker. The rest of the ships froze, their courage crumbling. They had seen their strongest fall in an instant. Fear now ruled the fleet. Ships began to scatter, trying to find safety. Commanders shouted for order, but no one listened. The alliance that had come to conquer was breaking apart before a single human vessel. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Crass roared in fury. "Hold your positions. Cowards, every one of you. Do you fear a single ship?" His words echoed, but even he felt the weight of dread pressing down. He had believed humans weak, but the truth was now clear. Humanity had hidden its strength. They had waited for the galaxy to underestimate them, and now the price was being paid. Ross watched the alien fleet falter. He saw ships pulling away, engines burning bright as they tried to escape. His voice remained calm. "Let them run. Strike only those who threaten us." The Resolute continued its slow march through the battlefield, leaving silence in its wake. The galaxy was learning a lesson it would never forget. Earth was not prey. Earth was power. And the name of the Resolute would be carved into history as the day fear spread across an empire. The battlefield had turned into chaos. Where once the coalition fleet had stood united in perfect formation, now it was breaking apart. Ships drifted in panic, captains argued, and commanders shouted to restore order. But fear is stronger than discipline, and the sight of their comrades vanishing into nothing had shaken them all. In the middle of the storm, the Resolute drifted forward in calm silence. Its silver shield shimmered faintly, untouched by the endless weapons that had been hurled against it. On its bridge, the human crew worked with quiet focus, each movement sharp and efficient. They were outnumbered by thousands, but not one of them looked afraid. Commander Ross stood tall at the center. His voice, low and steady, carried across the room. "They still believe numbers will save them. They do not yet understand. Let us show them." Lieutenant Mara adjusted the weapon controls. "Targets locked, Commander." Ross gave a single nod. "Fire." The core cannon glowed again. A beam of compressed energy lanced across the void, cutting through another alien cruiser. It vanished instantly, leaving nothing behind. The crew of the Resolute did not celebrate. They only prepared for the next. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Crass watched with cold fury. His claws gripped the railing so hard that sparks jumped from the console. Around him, his officers whispered in fear. One of them finally spoke what many were already thinking. "This is not normal technology. Nothing in the galaxy does this." Another officer, with trembling hands, added, "Commander, if humans had this power all along, why did they hide it?" Crass's eyes narrowed. That was the question that weighed on every mind. For centuries, humans had been seen as latecomers to the stars. They were slow to expand, weak compared to ancient empires. But now it seemed Earth had not been slow at all. Earth had been patient. Across the comms, other alien captains voiced their confusion. Some claimed the Resolute carried stolen relics from a lost civilization. Others said it must be powered by forbidden machines. But the truth was simpler. Inside the Resolute, Ross turned to his crew. His words were calm, almost like a lesson. Humanity has always been underestimated. While the galaxy laughed, we studied. While they fought each other for power, we built in silence. This ship is not magic. It is the result of patience, discipline, and years of work. We let them think we were behind. That belief was our shield. The crew listened with pride. They knew they were part of something greater than themselves. Humanity had not only caught up, it had leaped ahead. Lieutenant Mara's eyes shone as she watched the weapons readouts. They don't understand how it works. That terrifies them more than the power itself. Ross gave a faint nod. Good. Let their fear grow. It will keep Earth safe. The Resolute's technology was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Its shields bent space, turning enemy fire into harmless waves of light. Its cannon did not destroy by force, it unraveled matter itself, leaving nothing behind. It was efficient, precise, and terrifyingly final. Back on the colonies, miners and families crowded around their screens, tears in their eyes. They had expected death. Now they saw their defenders not only surviving, but turning the tide. Children pointed at the glowing ship, whispering that Earth was stronger than all the empires combined. Hope spread through every heart. In the alien fleet, however, despair spread just as fast. Captains abandoned formation, retreating in small groups. Some shut down comms, hoping to escape unnoticed. Others froze in place, unwilling to move at all. They had come to conquer. Now they only wanted to survive. Admiral Krass roared to restore control. His voice thundered through every channel. Do not run. Stand and fight. If you flee, you die a coward's death. But even as he shouted, his words felt hollow. The coalition was already broken. It was no longer an army. It was prey scattering before a predator. On the bridge of the Resolute, Ross watched calmly. His face showed no triumph, no arrogance. Only resolve. They will not recover from this. The galaxy will remember. One ship was enough. Mara turned to him, her voice soft but certain. Commander, we have changed everything today. Ross met her gaze. Yes. From this moment, Earth is no longer seen as weak. They will think twice before raising arms against us. The Resolute continued its march, gliding through the remains of the fleet like a silent judge. Every strike it made was deliberate. Every choice carried the weight of a message. Humanity had waited for the galaxy to come for them. Now the galaxy would pay the price of underestimation. For the first time in history, the stars themselves whispered a new truth. Earth was not prey. Earth was power. And the fear in the hearts of the coalition was proof enough that the message had been heard. The alien fleet had fallen into chaos. Ships fled in every direction, some hiding behind asteroids, others retreating toward the edge of the system. But not all had run. The largest and most powerful vessels, the dreadnoughts, advanced toward the Resolute like dark mountains floating through space. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Krass's scaled face was tight with fury. His claws gripped the railing as he shouted orders. We will not let a single ship destroy our fleet. Bring forward the dreadnoughts. Burn them. Crush them. The dreadnoughts moved in formation, each bristling with weapons and armor. Their engines glowed bright, leaving trails that streaked the void with fire. Hundreds of cannons readied, missiles loaded, energy beams humming like a chorus of thunder. It was the final hope of the coalition, the last chance to overwhelm the human vessel. On the Resolute, Commander Ross stood calmly at the center of the bridge. His crew worked efficiently, every movement precise. He did not speak much, only observing the approaching giants. Lieutenant Mara glanced at him. Commander, 3 dreadnoughts are closing fast. Their firepower is unlike anything we have faced yet. Ross nodded once. Do not fear. Their size does not matter. Focus on accuracy, not speed. Strike only when necessary. The dreadnoughts fired first. Hundreds of energy beams erupted, plasma waves streaked through the void, and missiles filled space like falling stars. The fleet's assault lit up the system, casting bright shadows across moons and asteroids. The air in the colony's observation stations trembled as viewers watched the final confrontation. The Resolute did not move quickly. Its silver shields flared brighter as energy struck them, bending the attacks harmlessly aside. The dreadnoughts roared, but the human ship remained untouched. Its calm presence unnerved the enemy, its lack of panic a silent declaration of confidence. Ross gave his order. Prepare the core cannon. Lock onto the first dreadnought. Mara's fingers flew over the controls. The weapon hummed as energy collected at the core, glowing brighter with every second. Target locked, she reported. Ross's eyes narrowed. Fire! The beam cut across space, moving faster than the eye could follow. It struck the lead dreadnought in the center. For a brief moment, the massive ship appeared unharmed. Then, as if erased by an unseen hand, it disappeared. Nothing remained. Not wreckage, not debris, not a single fragment. The second dreadnought moved forward, now wary. Its captain realized the danger, but it was too late. The Resolute turned slightly, and the beam struck again. Another massive ship vanished from existence. The third followed, its engines failing as the weapon hit with unerring precision. The largest vessels of the coalition were gone, leaving only smaller ships trembling in fear. Across the battlefield, the alien fleet shook with panic. Their leaders had fallen, their weapons destroyed, and their morale shattered. Retreat became the only option. Small groups of ships attempted to flee, but many found themselves in the path of the Resolute's cannon. One by one, they disappeared, leaving empty trails of light behind. On the Iron Fang, Admiral Krass's roar of fury echoed through the void. His plans had failed. His dreadnoughts had been destroyed. The weapon he had believed impossible now stood before him, calm and undefeated. He knew the battle was lost. Ross observed the retreating fleet, his face expressionless. His orders were simple. Do not chase. Let them go. They must remember this day. The Resolute glided through the aftermath, leaving silence in its wake. Its shields shimmered faintly as the stars reflected on its hull. The crew remained at their stations, calm, professional, and unwavering. They had accomplished what no one thought possible. Below, on the moons and colonies, the people cheered quietly, tears in their eyes. They had seen the impossible. One ship had defeated thousands. One ship had proven that humanity could stand alone and win. In the quiet of the Resolute, Ross spoke softly to his crew. We have not only defended Earth today. We have shown the galaxy who we are. Remember this moment. Humanity is stronger than they believe. Mara smiled, her eyes shining. We have changed everything today, Commander. Ross nodded. Yes. And now the galaxy will think twice before attacking us. Let this be our message. The fleet of the coalition retreated into the distance. Broken, defeated, and forever changed by the power of one human ship. The Resolute did not celebrate. It did not chase. It simply stood as a testament to humanity's strength, discipline, and patience. The galaxy would never forget this day. And Earth had sent a message louder than any cannon. The stars were quiet now. The alien fleet had retreated beyond the system, leaving only silence and the faint glow of distant explosions. The Resolute floated calmly in the void, its silver shields reflecting the light of the twin suns. One ship had faced an empire, and it had won. Commander Ross stood at the center of the bridge, looking at the empty battlefield. His face was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of responsibility. Humanity had survived, and in doing so, had sent a clear message to every civilization in the galaxy: Earth was not to be underestimated. Lieutenant Mara turned from the weapons console. They will talk about this battle for centuries, Commander. Every empire will know what happened here. Ross nodded once. Yes. And they will remember. They will remember that Earth is not prey. We are power. But our victory is not for pride. It is for safety. For our people. The crew watched the remaining alien ships disappear into the distance. Fear had spread among them, but the humans had shown restraint. They did not chase. They did not celebrate with fire or sound. Their calm was a statement: humanity had risen, but it did not seek needless war. Below the moons, the colonies erupted in joy. Families hugged one another, tears flowing freely. Children pointed at the sky, whispering that the humans had won. Farmers and miners who had feared the end of their world now lifted their heads in pride. Humanity had not only survived but proven that even a single ship could defend an entire planet. On the command deck of the Resolute, Ross activated the Universal Broadcast System. His voice carried across every channel, reaching all who had seen or heard of the battle. "This is Commander Ross of the Earth vessel Resolute," he said. "Earth does not seek war. We do not conquer. But if war is brought to us, if any civilization believes we are weak, they will find we are stronger than they can imagine. Today one ship was enough. Remember this. Humanity will not kneel." Across the galaxy, messages spread. Systems that had once laughed at humanity now paused in fear. Messages were sent, alliances reconsidered, and strategies rewritten. Earth had proven a single truth: underestimation of humans came at a cost no one could afford. On the Resolute, the crew exchanged quiet smiles. They had done their duty. They had not just defended Earth, they had sent a signal that would echo through space for generations. Ross spoke softly, his tone steady. "Prepare to return to Earth. We have delivered our message. Now we ensure the safety of our people and our planet." Mara nodded. "It will be remembered, Commander. Everyone will know that Earth stands strong." As the Resolute turned toward the planet, the colonies below began to repair the damage from earlier battles. Mining stations and small settlements had been shaken, but no major loss had occurred. Humanity had survived intact. Humanity had endured. The stars held a new respect for Earth. The alien fleets would speak of this day with caution, fear, and awe. Stories would be told of the lone ship that faced thousands and destroyed them with precision, speed, and calm. Legends of the Resolute and its crew would inspire generations, not only of humans but of those who witnessed the courage and strength of one small planet standing against empires. Ross stood at the bridge, silent for a moment. His mind reflected on what had occurred. One ship, one crew, and yet an entire galaxy had been forced to reconsider. That was power, not brute force, but patience, discipline, and skill. Humanity had waited, prepared, and acted when it mattered most. As the Resolute approached Earth, the crew looked out at their home world, glowing blue and green. Mountains, oceans, and cities lay beneath them, untouched by invaders. The planet that had seemed so small and fragile now held a galaxy-wide reputation for strength. Ross spoke finally, his voice carrying calm authority. "Today, we have not only protected Earth. We have shown the galaxy that humanity will never be taken lightly. Let this be remembered." The crew stood quietly, proud but not arrogant. They had achieved the impossible, defended their people, and sent a message stronger than any weapon. And in the hearts of humans across Earth, hope and pride burned brighter than ever. The Resolute had returned not just as a ship, but as a symbol. One ship had changed the galaxy. One ship had ensured that Earth's name would never again be forgotten. Humanity had risen, and the galaxy had taken notice.